What is going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Charlotte Hornets and how it was reported by my good friend at Hornets Reddit on Twitter. Good account. They always have like the news. They're good people. They mentioned that Wirehoops has been told by other executives that Brandon Miller is the lone untouchable, which I don't think that's news. I think we all knew, whether you want to trade LaMelo, whether you don't want to trade LaMelo, whether you're in the middle, it doesn't matter. I think it just feels like where this team currently is, Brandon Miller feels like the only untouchable. I think that's something we all knew. But another part of this is that he doesn't think LaMelo or Miles will be moved, and it says specifically no one would pay what the Hornets are truly seeking for each player. Now, the first thing when I read this is, what are they asking for Miles Bridges? I think whether you agree with me or not, that's fine. You know, I don't care. If y'all don't agree with me, that's fine. That's the whole point of this. But for Miles, I don't know what they're asking for. I don't like his fit with Brandon Miller. I don't like his fit with Brandon Miller, LaMelo, and all together. I don't like that trio unless either Brandon learns how to dribble, Miles starts being more aggressive when attacking the basket when everyone's healthy. He did that a little bit towards the end of the season, but he didn't do it when we really needed him to, and that's when we had Brandon Miller and LaMelo. So I don't think it can work unless they figure that out. They figured that out. My tune changes a little bit, but even then, it's tough because Brandon's just not a natural 2, and Miles is not a 4. He's an undersized 4. They both are 3s in my opinion. So I think it's just hard. But anyway, my issue with it all is, what are they asking for Miles? Because it shouldn't be much. I think if anything, you're looking to move off his contract. I'm not going to say he has empty stats. I would be lying. He does have impressive games. He's an impressive player when he's locked in. But I still don't think you should shop Miles Bridges around and expect a first-round pick, second. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe a second. Not strictly a second, like a second in some players or a player in it, like something along those lines. I just don't understand what they could be asking for to make it to where teams don't want to pay it, unless they just don't want to trade. Teams don't want to trade for him at all. That I can understand. But the Hornets asking for too much, that I don't really believe, only because it's hard for me to believe that they would be asking for a lot. Look, they could surprise me and I could be wrong. It is what it is. But I just don't see what would be the point of wanting to ask for a lot for Miles. For LaMelo, I see why you would want a lot. Someone asked me the other day, they were a fan of an opposing team, and they put together like a trade and was like, what would you do for this for LaMelo? Like, would you do this for LaMelo? And I was like, no, just because of the fact that if you want us to reset our franchise, it has to be enough. Now, I'm also an advocate for if the Hornets have no intention of being good, while we are paying LaMelo Ball $40-something million and Miles is getting paid $20-something million, Grant's getting paid $15, I think Josh Grant, like if we're paying all these people, we're not trying to be good, just get rid of LaMelo. Like that's how I feel about it. There is no point, if you're not trying to be good, to have someone that is really good and you're not doing anything with it. He is a win now type player. I'm not saying win now, win a championship. We have to dial down what win now means for us, and that's just making the playoffs. I think he can do that, and I think he can have a good series. So it's up to the rest of the roster to catch up to him. If they're not doing what needs to be done to allow that, then there's no point of having him throughout the duration of his contract. At this point, you're just paying him to pay him, and I don't agree with that. And then you're paying him to pay him, hoping that he signs another deal, which he could, but at that point he's 20. Like, why? Why are we doing this? So if you are not looking to be good anytime soon, just trade him. I'd rather have the players who you need to develop and all these picks to get a chance to get another franchise piece than to hold on to LaMelo and then every single year our season's over by Thanksgiving. I just would rather trade him. What is concerning about all of this is I understand why you would ask a lot for LaMelo. I wouldn't trade him just to trade him, even though I say, like, if you're not looking to be good, trade him. I wouldn't trade him for the sake of trading him. However, I can see why other teams would be skeptical of it. Just because of the fact that, one, We just had this thing go on with Mark Williams about, is he really that hurt? Is he not? Is he? Because LaMelo's kind of in that same boat when you're outside looking in. We all know two completely different stories, and even the Mark Williams one, it was kind of like whatever. But they're two completely different stories. But from the outside, I'm telling you, like from everybody else who does not watch the Hornets, I feel like they see that they saw that Lakers situation was like, is the same thing applying to LaMelo? Is he more hurt than indicated? Because for a while with Mark Williams, when they originally made the trade, it was, oh, he's in Charlotte, that's why everything happened the way it happened. It's like, no, he actually was hurt, and we've been telling y'all that he has not played, consistently in 3 years. However, at that moment he was healthy. This is a healthy Mark Williams you're getting, but I get it. But with LaMelo, I can see teams being concerned that he may not be as healthy as indicated, even though I think previously they would wonder like, oh, it's just Charlotte, they're not winning, so why play him? And that was kind of my sentiment. I felt as though I still believe that the team was not trying to be good. The team knew they weren't good. What's the point of overextending LaMelo when you don't need to? But all in all, this just feels like we're stuck. That's my major point, and that's my major reason for making this video. It just feels as though we are stuck. It feels as though there are no moves to be made, because I think that there is a playoff team in there somewhere. And a playoff, I use loosely. I'm not saying a contender. I'm saying they can make the playoffs in the Week East. That I just want to be very clear. There's a playoff team in there with LaMelo, Miles, and Brandon as your three. I believe that. I truly do. I don't know how you get there off of Nurkic, Josh Green, and Grant Williams, because those are the contracts you will need to make that happen, to get the serviceable players that you need. I don't know how you do that with those three. We have assets in terms of draft picks. I don't think that's enough to warrant a player unless they are an expiring and they just hate the situation they're in. Because and the issue with that is if they're expiring, they might not come back. So it's just a tricky situation overall. People keep wanting to make moves like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. And then boom, we have a playoff team. It's not that easy. I don't say, and people take that as, oh, Hornets fans never want to be good. They're accepting of the, no, it's just, I look at, if y'all complain that everyone on this roster stinks, it's not going to be easy to trade them for good players. It's that simple. You cannot take a trash player and turn him into gold. It does not work like that unless you run into a situation where that bond is just broken between that player and his current team. Which, and then, case in point, do I trust the Hornets to be able to mend that situation when they acquire this guy and keep him to stay? And talk to him and encourage him to stay. I don't have faith that they'll be able to, because that's the only way you're able to make this happen, because the team will just want to move off the guy because he doesn't want to be here. Then can you convince that guy that Charlotte is where he needs to be in order to win, make his money, take care of whatever he wants to do? I don't know if they could convince players of that. I just don't. I don't believe it. So this is discouraging. Now, the encouraging part is that it's from Wirehoops. Not to say Wirehoops isn't formidable. Not to say that like people there don't do it. It's not that. It's just that right now it's just hearsay. Unless it comes from Shams, and that's really it. I mean, Chris Hayes maybe, or maybe even Bobby Marks to an extent. But like, unless it comes from like one of those people, I can't be too sure. You know what I mean? And so that's just my biggest thing. It just feels like we're stuck if this is the case. If this is the case, it's the NBA. Anything can happen. The most craziest things can happen. And there is a point where, you don't want to not pay attention to the crazy side of it. It's not that you want to ignore that, because the NBA, we saw Luka get traded. Like, crazier things have happened. However, I don't want to spend too much time dwelling on that or thinking about these crazy outcomes when none of that crazy stuff has ever happened to the team, if that makes any sense. With the Mavericks, not that I know of anything crazy like trading Luka has happened. However, the Mavericks are always in situations where They just had Dirk, and then they won a championship with Dirk, and then they go and get are able to get Luka. Like, there are things to that where the Mavericks are just always, they're seen as a good up until recently. They're seen as a good and now they got the first pick and probably gonna get Cooper Flag, but they're seen as a good organization. They're always just in the mix, whether they're good or not. It's not like they're seen as a team like Charlotte. For us, those crazy, we are never in a position for those crazy things to happen. We're just not. So I can't sit here and spend too much time saying, well, it's the NBA, anything can happen, let's do this. We have never, ever, ever, ever done that. Now, once it happens, then I can give more leeway to thinking like that. But until then, nothing crazy has ever happened with this franchise. So I just don't believe, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. It just feels like we're stuck. We're stuck into trying to get good. We're not stuck in going backwards. And no one wants to hear that, but I feel as though it almost has to happen. It almost has to happen. A new ownership group. You're trying to fix what the other front office did, but at the same time, this is the thing. It wasn't strictly on the court issues that the previous front office had. It was everything. It was everything. It was the management. It was financials. It was HR. It was every single aspect of what it takes to run an NBA organization that there were faults in. So they have to gut everything. Coaching staff, like I said, HR, financial, cybersecurity, like all these things. They had to gut all of it and put in a good structure because the whole entire thing was messed up. So then on top of that, you have that part. We've said this before on this channel, that behind those doors needs to be fixed for anything relevant to happen on the court. That's just a reality of it. You can't put a good team together and your organization is ran like trash, because then your team's going to be trash. Look at the Suns. They're all over the place. They've been all over the place, and they have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Look where that got him. Now you can say Bradley Beal didn't uphold his end of the deal. There's a lot of other factors, but my point is that organizational structure was horrendous. And then boom, look what happened. And even before, Ishbia, I think is the guy that got it. I forgot who owned it before, but it was said that the organizational structure was bad then. And look, they were bad. Luckily, they had the Amari Stoudemire years, Steve Nash years, but they were bad for a good majority of after that period. So you have to fix that organizational structure, and I think they're doing a good job of that. And now it's probably time to start looking at the team. You have a lot of guys that they're probably giving up. Miles Bridges has been in Charlotte forever and hasn't seen much good basketball. LaMelo Ball has been the star of this, Charlotte organization, hasn't seen much good basketball. Brandon Miller just got here and he's already different from what not that this is a bad thing, but he's already kind of the glow he had when he got here is different from now. Now, part of that is the NBA, part of that the trial situation that's still going on with him, or it might have ended by now. So there's other aspects to that, but still, you could tell he's just not the same. And that's just the biggest problem. I don't see how you can convince other players to be here and be here long term. Not yet. And the reason I say we have to go backwards is because if you're the front office, you done fixed all the back end of what it takes to build an organization. Now it's time to work on the team. You don't have anything to build off of. The assets you got was because you fleeced. I think you did a good job of taking advantage of the Suns when they were vulnerable with both Nick Richards and the Cody Martin deal. You did a good job of taking advantage of the Mavericks when they had kind of buyer's remorse with Grant Williams, and then you were able to take advantage of that by getting that first round pick. Even though now it looks a little more shaky because they're probably going to get Cooper, but that's out of your control about how the draft lottery landed. So yeah, you've done things that you need to do in order to build up, but I don't know. I think you just have to gut it. You just have to gut it. That's how I strongly feel right now. I just feel as though I don't see how you make the team that much better. I see it to where I think they're already good enough when healthy to maybe flirt with the play-in, but I don't see how you get to this repeating playoff appearances with this being your structured core. I don't see how you do it. I see how you do it with LaMelo and Brandon, but then other aspects need to be fixed. I don't think Mark is in that equation. I don't think Miles is in that equation. Those are two big pieces. Mark is about to get, he's maybe not paid by us, but technically by contractual terms, he's about to get paid. So there's just a lot of parts, and I don't see how you take what we have now. Grant Williams getting hurt was huge on the court and off the court because of the fact that you don't have another piece, because he was looking really good last year before he got hurt, and the teams could want to buy in on that because of leadership, and he knows what to do. Like, it's just a lot of, Grant is a plug and play type player. Now he's hurt with an Achilles. Now luckily his game didn't rely on athleticism, but still he has a couple years left on his deal. He's probably not gonna play till January. Like, there's just a lot of aspects that go into it. So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. I'm all for anything that this team can build up and be in playoff contention. I'm all for that. Whatever path you see fit, I'm for it. I want that to happen. But as far as looking at the team with my own thought process and looking how we go up from here, I don't see how it happens unless players themselves elevate. Unless Nick Smith Jr. just goes crazy next year. Unless Mark Williams just becomes more physical in the paint and can play consistently. Unless we get some scoring off the bit. Like, it's going to take a lot. And right now, I don't think our roster has what it takes to propel into that situation. Moves can be made, but I don't see how you turn trash into gold. I don't see it. Because too much. We have LaMelo, we have Brandon. Those are the only two things I'm sure of on this team. Everything else is up in the air. And I don't see how you make the playoffs doing that. Once again, let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.